Hi, I'm Mark and welcome back to the channel. So our last video was initially just supposed to be a test of the new Blackmagic Cinema Camera 6K Pro, that's a mouthful, but it took on a whole life of its own as we started editing it. We thought that we'd ask our friend Julia West to provide a poem and it just became a whole short film. If you haven't seen it yet, go check it out and let us know what you think and come back to this video. So the purpose of this video, as you've probably already seen in the title, is to give our thoughts on BRAW versus ProRes RAW. And just a warning here up front, I'm not an expert. These are just our thoughts. I know these debates can get super heated. This is not going to be super scientific, as you can probably guess because I just said super scientific. But anyway, these are just our thoughts. We just saw the opportunity to record both with our Sony a7S III and the Atomos NINJA V, which you can see how we rig out here, and the Blackmagic Cinema Camera 6K Pro, and give our thoughts on the two RAWs. So just some spec notes here as the footage plays. With the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 6K Pro, we shot with the Sigma 18-35mm f1.8, which, side note, is a beautiful lens by the way. Whereas with the Sony a7S III and Atomos NINJA V combo, we shot using the Tamron 28-75mm f2.8 with a Benro SHD 3-9 stop variable ND filter. It's not a cheap VND, but compared to say Peter McKinnon's Polar Pro VND, it's less than half the price. And we shot just the normal ProRes RAW. We know there's a ProRes RAW HQ mode, but we didn't use that for this occasion, and we shot this at 50 FPS as well. So, my gut reaction and opinion? Well, from using BRAW for the first time, I was really loving the skin tones I was getting. And I mean, I'm just always impressed with RAW in general. There's just so much information to play around with. It's crazy. But really, it sort of came to much of a muchness, with other factors coming into play. As I mentioned before, and a really noteworthy point is that we shot on the BMPCC 6K Pro at a 12:1 compression ratio, and the footage ended up taking around the same amount of space as just the normal ProRes RAW, give or take a few gigabytes. And this is really impressive on BRAW's part, given that I was able to achieve kind of the same results with the ProRes RAW and the BRAW. What did come into play were the other bonuses of the BMPCC 6K Pro being the internal NDs. These were a game changer. And another note is that the Sony a7S III with its full frame sensor was capturing more light, and I noticed that I had a little bit less room in the highlights to play around with. As you can see, some of the highlights are blown out here or there, but this isn't really a camera comparison. We'll get to that in another video. But I think that another takeaway is, if you're watching this and considering purchasing an Atomos NINJA V and wondering if it's worth it, 100%. RAW is a game changer and you'll never look back. When it came to the grading though, I had no idea that ProRes RAW isn't supported by DaVinci Resolve yet. That's like quite a big thing for me. I ended up having to match the grade of the BRAW that I did in DaVinci Resolve in Premiere Pro using Lumetri. And another thing on the post side of things is the RAW source settings. With BRAW, I have access to all the RAW settings I'd ever need. White balance, color space, gamma, ISO, temperature, exposure, and all the gamma controls, etc. But with ProRes RAW, it's just exposure and color space. And on playback and editing, I was able to edit the 6K BRAW in Premiere without the need of proxies. I mean, it lags a bit at full quality, but runs fine at a quarter quality. That's amazing. That's a total game changer. And I mean, naturally, grading BRAW in DaVinci is an absolute dream. And with the ProRes RAW at 4.2K, I was able to play back at full quality without a hitch, and edit smoothly at about half quality. Again, incredible. How is this a thing? This is how? Just how? What? So yeah. Oh, one last thing. We thought that while we're recording with the Sony a7S III and Atomos NINJA V using ProRes RAW, we thought that we might as well record a few clips on the Sony internally and compare that to the ProRes RAW as well. So here it is. We shot it at all-I 500 megabits per second, 422 10-bit, and then Premiere, I literally copied over the Lumetri that I had done on the ProRes RAW, and well, it came out quite green. And I wanted to ask you guys, is this an XAVC-S specific thing? Let me know in the comments. Other than that, I noticed the obvious things. The internal recording started showing some subtle banding, and there's, a lot more latitude and information recorded with the RAW. I mean, obviously. Anyway guys, that's it for this one. I hope you enjoyed it. But before you go, I just wanted to ask you one more question that I hope you could answer for me in the comments. So we exported the master of our film that we shot in BRAW out of DaVinci using DNXHR 444. But the export was considerably less contrasty than what I had set in DaVinci. I looked up online and apparently this has to do with the data levels being set to auto instead of full, where auto is broadcast safe levels, but then I read on other forum posts that never set it to full, always leave it on auto. So we ended up using DNXHR HQ and it came out looking great. So have any of you guys got any clarity on this? Leave it down in the comment box below. And if you like this video, then definitely leave it a like. And if you haven't subscribed yet, then maybe consider doing so. So until next time, go out there, stay safe, and make your movie.